What's up, guys, and welcome back to Skins in the Game, episode number 46. We are climbing that total ever so close to number 50. But, of course, we have JW in the house. How are you doing today?
Doing good. How you doing?
Not too bad. We got a pretty good show. No more football. This was the first Sunday without football in a long time. So we are now in free agency time, and things are going to start happening. Oh, headphones got caught. But anyway, we got, of course, the dad joke of the week. What do you got? Charley Taylor passed away at 80 years old. We'll talk about him a little bit. Washington fixed the Crest. New name or new poll reveals maybe the name wasn't that good. In case you needed a poll to know that. Everybody may be on the trade block. We'll talk about, is Chase Young really on the trade block for a quarterback? Some other quarterback options, and then Terry McLaurin's potential contract. But as always, we're going to start with the dad joke of the week.
Hold on. I'm going to start with turning the fan on because it's warm in here.
Is that a dad joke already? Uh-oh. Maybe you won't turn the fan on.
No, hold on.
Oh, there you go. Now the fan's moving. We see it.
Yeah. All right. Now I got it.
Yeah, it's hot down there in Florida, huh?
It hit 80 degrees today, but I'm not bragging.
It's one of those weird time of year where it's like you have to wear a jacket in the morning here, but then by 10 o'clock you're like, oh my gosh, it's hot. Get me out of this jacket.
Yep.
That's where we're at here in Maryland, over in this area. But anyway, dad joke of the week.
All right. Found a spider in my shoes. He looked silly. They were way too big for him.
That's what you're concerned about. That's what you're concerned about.
I could tell you the one
way they look.
Yeah. Although how a spider is in my shoes, I don't get it. But I thought that's a slim.
The same spider in this. In what are you wearing? Sandals?
Yeah.
he gets sent up to the other both sandals. Yeah. There you go.
That's a big spider if he can span two shoes. I'm just saying.
It is.
Sandals or not.
Anyway, all right. What do you got?
Well, I got a couple of completely out of trivia. Trivia is called trivia because it's trivial.
It's trivial.
But I have two trivia things.
Okay.
One is the winner of the Super Bowl has lost the coin flip the last 8 consecutive years. So if you want to win the Super Bowl, then you better lose the coin flip.
Okay, that's interesting.
And then this other one, we might be able to play with this a little bit. That each of the last 16 quarterbacks in their Super Bowl debut never came back. That lost in their debut
never came back.
Never came back. So that was, of course, they're talking about Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
But I have the list of the 16 quarterbacks. Jimmy Garoppolo, Jared Goff, Matt Ryan, Cam Newton, Colin Kaepernick, Rex Grossman, Matt Hasselbeck, Donovan McNabb, Jake Delhomme.
Yep, that's what
Delhomme, Rich Gannon, Kerry Collins, Steve McNair, Chris Chandler, Drew Bledsoe, Neil O'Donnell, and Stan Humphries. So
good night.
It's not looking
good.
Joe
Burrow is the only one on that list that you would be like, oh, I expect back. I guess maybe Cam Newton, maybe, but that was a terrible list of quarterbacks.
I know. And they all made it to the Super Bowl and lost and never came back. So, of course, the point being that Joe Burrow is destined never to make it back to the Super Bowl because history has a way of, determining how things are going to get. Yeah.
But it's repeated itself 16 times in a row. So, lucky number 17 for Joe Burrow?
Could be. I don't expect Joe Burrow to go the way of all those other quarterbacks. I think he's a lot better than most of them. There's a couple on there that you could probably rate with him, but I think he's a really good quarterback. But hey, unless Cincinnati, it is a team of 53. Is it still 53 players, or did they up that yet? So, but anyway, so what do you got?
All right, what do I got? All right, first off, before I go into this other one, we're going to do another NCAA tournament bracket, and there is going to be a prize, and haven't decided what it is going to be yet. It'll be free to enter, but it will be a prize if you win. So I just wanted to announce that as well, and then more information to come. But here's my what do you got? Would you rather feel pain or have an itch?
Wow, that's kind of out of left field.
Well, it's not in my life, but it is for sports talk. But it's not a sports-related topic, but it's actually important in my life right now.
What are you saying? You have an itch or you have a pain?
Stay tuned to find out.
Hey, that's a very interesting. I
Are
don't
you
know.
going to answer my question?
I think I'd rather have an itch.
I hate to itch. If I have an itch, I will scratch until I bleed. Like, I despise having an itch. So, because of that, I scratched my foot. I was in the shower, and, like, I had an itch on my foot, and I got it. And it was, like, it was one of the greatest feelings, okay? Like, I don't know. It make you feel your whole body. It's just like, oh, you're getting it. You know, like when a dog, you're scratching that spot and the leg starts kicking? Yeah, I felt that good with this itch, right? And I was just tearing up my foot. Well, my foot now has a big sore on the bottom of it. And, yeah, it may or may not have gotten infected. I had to clean it out last night. Woke up slain in the middle of the night. Yeah, I was in severe pain. And then I started thinking, was the itch worth it or was it not? Like, I was rolling. It was like burn. It was like somebody had a flamethrower to my foot. Like, I couldn't even. It's not like it only hurt when somebody touched it. It was one of those pains where it's like, no matter what you did, you couldn't just like leave it hanging. I was in pain.
So let me ask you this: have you ever had a phantom itch where you like feel an itch on your leg and you go to scratch it and that's not where the itch is, and it's actually somewhere else on your body and you have to figure out where it is?
That sounds torturous.
Well,
I think I blocked those out of my memory, even if I had it.
Maybe it comes with age. You'll get there.
Maybe it comes with age. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. But anyway, that was my what do you got. I liked it.
It's very interesting. I'd like to know what the chat thinks of that.
nobody's commenting. They're all in. Like, look at, like, are they really talking about this? But no. Okay. All right. How do you follow that up? You follow it up with one of the greatest Redskins of all time. Unfortunately, passing away. Charley Taylor, number 42, died yesterday at 80 years old. I didn't actually see how he died, but
they didn't announce. They
Okay.
said that the family has not released.
It wasn't yesterday either. It was a few days ago. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, maybe Monday, but it
Yeah.
wasn't. It was this week. But yeah, they said that the family has not disclosed the cause of death.
Okay.
Don't know what that means. You know, I'm pretty sure it's not a conspiracy. They just were like, "Hey, we're not releasing that right now." So
A scavenger hunt itch. No, but yes. Anyway, let's just go ahead and go through his career just a little bit. He was an 8-time Pro Bowler, 1-time first-team All-Pro, 5-team second team All-Pro, rather. 5-time second-team All-Pro. Let me say that correctly. He was the NFL Rookie of the Year in 1964. He finished his career as the all-time NFL's leading receiver with 640.
I was going to say that. So you spoke. That's good. But yes,
Yeah.
that's the key. That
Right. He obviously shows he's great.
you just have to you just have to watch highlights. You can't describe highlights. 6'3", 210-pound, pretty good sized wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He was back in the glory days, and he was good, and he was hard to catch. So what can you say? Like I said, you can't describe highlights, but if you get a chance, go to YouTube and watch some highlight reels of what he could do. He was great.
2 more fun facts about Charley Taylor. One is he was drafted twice, one in the NFL, one in the AFL. Round 1, pick 3 in the NFL draft, but a round 2, pick 9 in the AFL draft. That's kind of a big swing. How do you go from the number 3 overall pick to a high-end second-round pick? Maybe because they knew they weren't going to get him? I don't know. But still, I thought that was an interesting swing. And then the other one is he was a part of all 5 Super Bowl appearances. for the Washington Redskins, and it was 2 as a player. No, 1 as a player and 4 as a coach. He was the wide receivers coach in the 80s through the 90s. So,
Yeah, and one other bit
go
of
for it.
trivia. In his NFL debut, back in the day when passing was not as big as it is now, that on his NFL debut against Cleveland Browns, he had a 17-yard run, a touchdown on a 17-yard run, and caught 8 passes for 88 yards. And that's in a day where that was huge. Today, that's like, well, whatever. But back then, that was huge.
He was drafted as a running back and then turned a Hall of Fame wide receiver. So that was another little tidbit. Patrick West says Charlie Taylor and Roy Jefferson were fun to watch.
Absolutely.
42 is another jersey that needed to be retired years ago. Charlie should have been here to see it. That's a great point. It's a weird thing of when they decided and when they didn't decide to, because they only had what? Who is the only Redskin with the retired? I don't even remember who it was. Was it Bobby Mitchell? Was the only number retired for a minute, and then there was the Untouchables.
Did they retire Sammy Ball? That's a good question. I can look it up.
Yeah, I forget who. No. They just retired Bobby Mitchell. That was the whole thing. They retired his number.
Yeah.
I remember that one. It was Ball. Okay. It's Sammy Ball. That's what Redskins Van 10 said. So it was only Sammy Ball, and then there was the list of untouchable numbers, Charlie Taylor being one of them, and there was several untouchable numbers, but now there's, 3 retired numbers? Because Sean Taylor was the 3rd, I believe, with Bobby Mitchell and Charlie Taylor.
Well, and you got to wonder, how do you retire Sean's jersey at 21, or do you do it at 36?
21.
Just saying, he had to. So
36 was his rookie year number, but 21 is what everybody knows him as.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
ESPN that Taylor will join Sammy Ball, number 33, and Bobby Mitchell, number 49, as the only Washington players to have their jerseys retired. So apparently,
that's not breaking news, but
just saying, you didn't know. A minute ago, I thought you said you didn't know if they retired it.
No. They did retire it. It was the biggest botch ever. It was that Kansas City. They retired it last year. Remember, they announced it like 3-4 days before they were going to do it. It was that whole debacle.
No, you're talking about Bobby Mitchell.
Oh, Bobby Mitchell, they retired it 2 years ago.
Okay. So, sorry. Yeah. I thought you were saying you weren't sure about Taylor's retiring his jersey, but there are apparently 3 numbers in the Redskins' history that are retired. So, according to this, Sean Taylor's number has not been retired.
Wait, who were the 3? I thought you said Sean Taylor, Bobby Mitchell, and Sammy Ball.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Charlie Taylor. Maybe you were right. It might be.
Oh, we're getting confused. Okay. I'm
sorry. You're right. No, it might be me that's confused. I saw Taylor and I wasn't thinking Sean Taylor. So maybe it's Sean Taylor.
No, it was Sean Taylor at 21 that they retired. They have not retired Charlie Taylor. That's who Redskins man was talking about. 42 is another jersey that should have been retired.
Yeah, sorry.
Too many Taylors to keep up with. How are we supposed to keep up with all these Taylors, man?
I know, my God.
We're doing Taylor this, Taylor that. But all
right,
so more
about
history.
Charlie Taylor, and I saw Taylor, and I ran off the rails.
I'm like, what's going on here?
So more history, please enlighten us.
The crest was fixed. The Washington crest. They said they heard us loud and clear, and they fixed the crest. So instead of saying 83, 88, and 92. They now corrected it to say 82, 87, and 91. They actually listened to the fans and made the correction. Can you believe it?
Just like the name. I know there was 1 million fans out there that wanted the Commanders. So yes, they've got a history of doing that. Not.
Is the new crest make you more or less likely to buy gear?
As you can see, I wear the one jersey I have. Well, actually, that's not fair. I did. I was actually given a Kirk Cousins jersey, and I had a Morris jersey that not sure I still have. I probably don't, but as you can see, I don't buy a lot of, obviously from the blanket behind me, because I don't have anything else. I don't buy a lot of gear. Not sure. Maybe at some point I'll feel compelled to buy something, but I don't feel compelled. I got the one jersey of the guy I fit. My physique fits the most.
My physique fits the most. You work hard on that physique, I can tell.
I do. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have no interest. I don't even have extra money to spend on Washington Commander gear, even if I wanted to right now. It's just not happening. Your dad's the complete opposite. Redskins Man 10 has like, what is it, 80 jerseys or something crazy like that, or 75 jerseys? I don't know. He'll probably tell us here soon.
Nice.
Juris in the house. What up, Juris? Washington diehard fan says, nope, this crest is not making a difference on whether or not he's going to buy. That's funny. I buy Redskins gear all the time. True. If they give Terry a contract, I'm getting a black jersey. That would be a fun one. We'll definitely talk about more about that contract potentially happening. Oh, just got to 83. So I was close when I said 80. 83 jerseys is what this guy has. Commander John, says Jairus. John the Commander. Anyway, all right, speaking of the new name, as you mentioned, there was a new poll out, according to the Washington Post, who apparently polled some local people, so local fans only, on, are you happy with the new name? So this is what the poll revealed. So there's 5 options: love, like, dislike, hate, and no opinion. So love, only 5% of the fan base loves the name.
And I'd love to know who the hell those 5% are, because I say they're full of it.
Yeah. Commanders is too offensive to me. I agree, Pig. I agree. Like is 36%, which is the highest, so a plurality like the name. Commanders. A plurality like the name.
Again, who are these people? Because I have not talked to one of them.
Well, you're in Florida now, so you don't count. You're not a local guy anymore.
I'm on Facebook, and I have not heard one. I've got like 270 friends on Facebook. I have not seen one of them say, I like the name.
Yeah, Jairus actually does love the name. I think Jairus does, or at least likes the name. So Jairus is one of them.
All right.
And then so that's a total of 41% either love or like the name. Dislike the name, 32% dislike the name. And then 17% hate the name. And then 11% have no opinion. Apparently these do not equal 100 according to this, but rounding errors is what causes that.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
If you have no opinion, why are you responding to a poll? Hey, you got it. But let me log in here and
well, you know
tell
what?
you that I don't care.
I think this is like those things that they call around on, because like they have a bunch of random questions in here. Like I think this was a part of like a big series of questions, not just like they weren't just calling to ask this one question, because it's like
they tucked it in. Like,
yeah.
Hey, it's way down here, so nobody will notice. Just, oh, by the way, what do you think of the name?
Yeah. First, do you think that things in the District of Columbia are generally going in the right direction, or do you feel things have gotten pretty seriously off on the wrong track?
This is the poll you're talking about?
Well, that's one of the options. And I don't think this is talking about the football team. I think this is talking about, like, District of Columbia in general. Because then it's, like, compare... I don't know. This is really weirdly written up, but... I don't know. Now I'm going to mention some issues that face our community. Yeah, so this is like a big poll that Washington posted. So that's why they responded to it. But it is.
So they felt like they had to answer that question before they could submit the poll. You go to submit, it's like, sorry, you missed the question. Go back.
Yeah. So is this a big deal, or do you think this is just typical people don't like change, so there was no way to get that love number above 5%. Like, honestly, should they be happy about a 41% being pleased with the name, or what?
I don't think Dan Snyder gives a shit. Sorry.
Don't hold
I was
back.
supposed to be, By the way, if I could do just a quick aside, I read this earlier this week that the NFL hires this new woman to investigate them, Mary Jo White.
Mary Jo White.
That's the name I've heard. But the interesting thing is, I didn't realize this, and I can't find the article I read, but that the Panthers owner, I believe it was the Panthers owner, they did not say what year, but she came in to investigate him, and he ended up having to sell the team. The NFL kicked him out. So I thought maybe this is a sign that the NFL is kind of done with Dan Snyder, and they've hired the same person that came in and got an NFL owner to have to sell his team. Maybe to all of us that are hoping beyond hope, and I know they say, be careful what you wish for because the next owner could be worse. It's entirely possible.
Yeah.
Whether it's Jeff Bezos or, but I think the NFL, the fact that they hired her and brought her in to investigate Dan Snyder is a sign that they want blood. They're like, okay, you're out. I don't know, because Jerry Jones is apparently Teflon.
Jerry Jones is apparently Teflon.
Nothing sticks to him. But anyway, move on. That was just a quick aside.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely an interesting. I didn't hear about this, so that's a great find. That's very interesting. But anyway, back to the name thing. So, was there any way to get above 5%, or do you think that that's pretty much the cap when you do a new name and a new change? And of course, 2 weeks in, because this was done between February 2nd, the day they announced it, to February 14th. So 12 days, not even 2 weeks. That was when the poll was done. Do you think there was really any chance of them getting over that anyway?
Well, the only chance I think they had is if they had red in the name. Red Hogs, Red Wolves, Red something. Not Red Tails, by the way. I'm off that one. But that would be, I understand what you're saying, and you're right, that a new name, people are going to hate it, just like the Washington football team for a while, and then it started growing on people. Mm-hmm. But I think you would have gotten a higher approval rate for anything with red in the name, or, and I'll throw this in, if they had left it the Washington football team, I think a lot of Redskin fans were like, you know what? That's a perfect up yours to all the people offended. That's my thought. So, but yeah, any other name outside of something with red in it was not going to do. There was not going to be an overwhelming. I mean, I still think the majority of the fan base are like, why did you change it from Redskins?
Yeah.
And they can't let go of that. So yeah, at least 80% of the fan base was going to be like, anything but the Redskins sucks. So
yeah,
it wasn't going to get a high approval rating.
Yeah, I think the only way that you could have really spiked up the numbers, and Red Hogs may have done it, honestly. Maybe that's the only, maybe one of two. But Red Wolves, I would have been curious if they would have done this poll after Red Wolves, how high that love percent number would have gone up. It would have gone up a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Now, would it have been above 20? Would it have been above 30? Would it have been just 10? Like, it would have gone up significantly, but I don't know how much. Like, I think it may have been up to 25% love, and then maybe 30% like. Like, I think the like would have gone down. I think the like number would have gone down significantly though too, because Red Wolves was one of those names that I feel like you either loved it or you hated it. You know, like it was so. Right now they did. So you may have said they did a good job because like most of the fan base, 68% of them are in the like to dislike instead of in the love and the hate.
Right.
So they're kind
in
of
the middle
like,
of the road.
Yeah, more lukewarm on their takes in that direction. And then of course 11% no opinion. If you throw that into the like and dislike, then that's what, 79% of the fan base. So maybe that, and I think that's what they wanted to go for, was a more lukewarm, not a more polarizing name such as Red Wolves. Because I think the Red Wolves, you may have even got it like not exactly opposite, but you would have gotten bigger love percent than like, and then you would have gotten bigger hate than dislike.
So the ends would have been wider.
Yeah.
By the way, Redskins man, that's funny. In response to be careful what you ask for, you might get a worse owner. And he said the owner would have to kill a man on national TV to be worse than Dan Snyder. That's a clap for that one. That's funny.
I don't know if you can get much worse than Dan Snyder. Like, because of, not only is he a piece of crap, but he's also just such a terrible owner of the football team. It's not like Robert Kraft, that most likely is not a very good person. I don't know. Like, he's going to like those massage parlors that are pretty much, like keeping women in like, whatever they call them, international women, like in slavery and almost in this weird world. So he may not be a great human being, but at least the Patriots are good.
Look, I'm going to tell you right now, if the Redskins, and look, in all fairness, and I can't stand Dan Snyder, I'm not defending him, but I think he wants a winner. I do believe he's willing to spend money, and he thinks he's smart enough to do it. He wants a winner, and he's willing to spend to get it. He just makes all the wrong decisions. But let's make no mistake about it. If the Redskins were good, or the Washington football team, or whoever the hell they're being called now, if they were good and they were in the playoffs and were competing, nobody would be complaining about Dan Snyder's, expensive prices at the stadium. They just want a winning product.
Right.
And like I said, I believe Dan Snyder wants a winning product and is willing to spend money to get it. He just doesn't have the right senses to make it happen. Robert Kraft has the right senses.
Right.
So it's not a matter of personality. If the Patriots sucked, Kraft would probably be out.
Right.
Well, maybe not out, but
you can't get rid of an owner, unfortunately. But so he would still be there, even if the Patriots sucked. But I'm just saying, like, just to compare somebody that's probably not a very good person, but still puts a good product on the field, that nobody would care about this.
Look,
like if Robert Kraft came out with a allegation that Robert Kraft, like there was a bunch of sexual harassment and mistreatment of women and blah, 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 there wouldn't be a question of should he sell the team. Like
Jerry Jones. I'd say the same thing with Jerry Jones. They just had a release. The problem with Jerry Jones,
he's done good for the league, but he's not been good for the Cowboys, I don't think. Like, I don't think the Cowboys are very good.
Well, but I'm just saying, they make the playoffs. Yeah. Nobody's screaming for Jerry Jones to go anywhere, and they just released, well, maybe not just, but I just saw earlier this week or last week where the Cowboys paid the cheerleaders like however many millions of dollars for a settlement on one of their executives that it was apparently in the locker room filming them changing.
Right.
So I'm not defending Dan Snyder or any of the football. All that stuff is, boys will be boys mentality, but there is no way you're going to convince me that it's not much more rampant in the league than a couple of franchises. This is football. So you're not going to convince me that it's the Redskins and Dallas and maybe a team here or there. I'm sure it's happened a lot more, but those teams don't suck as bad. So, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know if it has to do with the suck or not. I don't know. I generally I'm following what you're saying. I generally follow what you're saying. But anyway, all right, let's get off of the non-football stuff. And let's get into some potential football things. And somebody mentioned it was a clickbait. Actually, real quick, MP had a good comment. Bare minimum, the new team name should have had to start with an R. Even if it wasn't Red, if it was Rebels, Renegades, whatever. If you can cap that was my number one thing.
Nope.
Going into the name chain was keep the R.
Valid point.
That was literally my number one, and I couldn't even get that. I couldn't even get my own, like, if you would have asked me going into it, you have no control over anything except for one thing, it would have been keep the R. That's exactly what it would have been. And they decided, no, we don't want to keep the R. Screw you fans that have been there forever. But anyway, all right, now let's get into some football potential stuff. So there was a report that there might be no one safe on this roster when it comes to getting a potential franchise quarterback. And they even went as high to say, is Chase Young even on the block? I mean, of course, if it was Chase Young, it would be somebody of the caliber like Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson. It wouldn't be, Chase Young for Marcus Mariota. But do you think this is true? Do you think these kind of players are actually still on the trade block? Because not only Chase Young, Terry McLaurin, Jonathan Allen, like these kind of caliber dudes, do you think they're actually on the trade block? And in what scenario would you actually be okay, if any scenario? Hold on, I can't hear you. Did you put your thing up?
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Go ahead.
The answer to the second question first. I'd have to see the deal. It's hard to say what is the deal I'd be happy with, but let's talk about Chase Young.
Okay.
Look, I think he's a freak athlete.
Mm-hmm.
He's got one move. His sophomore year was not that good. Then he got hurt and he got knocked out. So we all want him to be, one of a Bosa or a Von Miller or someone that can change the course of the game, but he hasn't. After the first year, which I think his interior line helped with that, but the NFL, and I've told you this before, the NFL figures things out, and until he's got to keep learning and change what he does, which, by the way, Charles Mann, I think we talked about this last week, maybe, that Charles Mann said him and Dexter Manley would come out and work with the defensive linemen to tell them, basically see what, he's like, Chase Young got overwhelmed. Well, unless Chase Young spends a lot of time figuring out how to do something different, then trade him. He's not, this last year, he was not a offense altering guy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so I agree. When you're, 6-11?
What, this year? Yeah, we were 6-11. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 7-10. 7-10. We won our last game.
Oh my God, that's right. We beat the Giants.
Yeah.
But it's like Doc Walker says when you have a losing team, who is it on the team that's like, oh no, can't touch him because he's going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think Chase Young has the ability and the time to learn what he's doing or not doing. But I wouldn't, if you get a good player, how good is Chase Young going to be? We all like to think he's going to be the next great cheese man. Sorry.
The only real untouchable, if we're being serious, is Cheeseman. Cameron Cheeseman is the only real untouchable on this team, the long snapper that we drafted last year. But no, yeah, Redskins say Chase needs to learn some spin moves, bull rushes, swing moves, etc. I mean, that's a lot to learn, unfortunately. You would like to maybe see two of those, or if he has a great bull rush, he has a great swim move, but if he added a spin, that'd be nasty. No, it's not very diverse in his tools going into it for sure. He's a bust, admit it. Dave Robb is not on an island. I mean, he is not by himself. There's a lot of people. I know Roger Smith in the chat has said this before. There's a lot of people on this camp that Chase Young is a bust at the number 2 pick. And I remember I told you before he was drafted, this is not recorded, this is before we just started the show, that I thought that trading back would have been a better option that year because I didn't think he was not going to be a good player, but I didn't know if he was going to live up to the number 2. Unfortunately, that prediction of mine is, I would have loved to be wrong on that one. I wish that he was the Micah Parsons of that draft that just killed it, but so far so true. But I don't think it's true. I don't think that any of these guys are on the block. First off, I don't think you trade your best players away, period. I mean, that's just silly. But there's an extra added thing with us just now changing our name, that these three particular guys, Chase Young, Jonathan Allen, and Terry McLaurin, are the faces of the rebrand. Like, we just put them out in uniform, and like, these are the guys that we've decided to put at the front of this rebrand. And then you trade them within a month? You know, within 2 months, they're out of here? That would be...
Well, would you be shocked that Dan Snyder did that?
I'm talking about what we should do, not what they're going to do, okay? I'm talking about what we should do. But there's this...
Well, you asked if it was true, so it's like, oh, you don't believe they're on there, and I get where you're coming from, but you asked the question whether or not do you think these rumors are true, and I'm like,
yeah, I guess
Dan Snyder's
phrase it that way,
yeah, Dan Snyder is running the ship, so all bets are off.
All bets are... I mean, with how bad they did the Sean Taylor thing, you're right. That anything could happen with how pathetic this franchise is in so many ways. They try so hard to lose their fan base. So
yeah,
hard.
Do you think Greg Williams could have mentioned to Joe Gibbs that he was going to only do 10 players? And like maybe mention it to the other team, hey, I want to do a tribute, instead of finding out after the fact that, oh, by the way, why do you only have 10 guys on the field? Oh, I'm doing a tribute to Sean Taylor. We're leaving his spot vacant. And look, I believe had it been communicated to the other team that, look, the first play of the game for the defense, we're doing this as a tribute to Sean Taylor, the other team would have played along. And Joe Gibbs probably would have been okay with it. But you might want to communicate to the other team, this is what we're doing, instead of them thinking, oh, the Redskins only lined up 10 players on the field and we got a guy wide open.
If your reaction to the number 2 pick is cursed. Okay, that's good. But all right, here's the one scenario, and it's going to sound crazy, and this is why it's not going to happen. Here's the one scenario that I think would be okay to trade Chase Young. And I have an argument with it as well. Is if we go for Aaron Rodgers, and it's literally a straight-up trade. No other picks involved, straight up. Why? Chase Young is what, 24? 23, 24? He's still got 8, 9, 10 years left of football in him, where Aaron Rodgers may only have 2 or 3 years in him. So you're trading away a potential great talent for the next decade, but you're getting the 2-time back-to-back MVP. And so there's an argument of it actually may end up being, quote-unquote, an even trade, especially if they like Jordan Love behind, because he's the backup quarterback right now. If they like him to be the starter, then you move on with Aaron Rodgers, you get another great talent at defensive end, and then you move forward. But outside of that, I'm not trading him plus picks. Especially not for these older quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson has too much stuff off the field to be interested in. Russell Wilson is getting older. I still think he's great and he can still play for good years. But I'm not trading 2 first rounds, Chase Young, and 2 second-round picks for a guy like Russell Wilson. I'm just not doing that. So that would be the only scenario. It's an impossible scenario. I'm not saying it's a likely scenario, but it would make sense in a way for both teams.
But by the way, just keep in mind that if you did bring it, if that worked and you brought in Aaron Rodgers, at the end of every season that they didn't go all the way, he'd be talking about how he wants to either retire or go to another team. He's been doing that with Green Bay for what, the last 5 years? 4 years? Where at the end of each season, it's like, I'm not playing with this team. I want to go somewhere else. And then he plays with them. So you're dealing with that. And the one thing, and I was in your camp with Deshaun Watson, and I get that was my angle or my view of it. But I'm starting to think that maybe with all the stuff going on in the Washington organization, that maybe they could play it off like, look, he's had his issues. He's had his problems. We've had our issues and problems. We're getting stuff right. And we're going to bring him in and basically right his ship with us of saying, okay, we did a lot of stuff we shouldn't have done. He did too. We got all the NFL, the eyes of everybody are on us. We're going to bring him in here and give him a chance at redemption. Maybe they can pull it off. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to, but it'd be interesting.
Probably
it would be
won't,
interesting, but I don't think any of those quarterbacks are going to be moving, honestly, especially not Rodgers and Wilson. I just think it'd be too crazy for those teams to
I don't
actually
want,
make
and
the move.
I'll say one more thing. I don't want a quarterback at the end of their career.
Yeah, and Watson's not coming here because he has a no trade clause, and he doesn't want to come here. He wants to go. He wants to go south. He wants to go to Tampa. He wants to go to Miami. Like, he wants to come hang out with you, Dad. He wants to come hang out. He wants to come to Ormond Beach.
Hey, we're way north of Miami. MP, that's funny.
Watson would fit in right within Danny. Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, Danny would send him the private jet.
So let's go ahead and talk. Yeah, let's go ahead and talk some other potential QBs that we haven't talked about on this show. I've made videos on it throughout this week, so we'll get Dad's opinion here. So 2 other quarterbacks that may be on the move with, of course, we're going to talk about the one we just mentioned, Jordan Love from the Packers. So he's the former first-round pick, number 26 overall, and he, of course, was drafted behind Aaron Rodgers, and he's not playing for obvious reasons, and Aaron Rodgers is playing at an all-time MVP level right now, back-to-back MVPs, does not turn the ball over hardly ever. He's the best in the league in a lot of ways, minus maybe Pat Mahomes. Like, he's so good. Because he's also under contract still for 2 more seasons, if Aaron Rodgers stays, Jordan Love, if he somehow becomes on the trade block, do you think that would be an interesting move for Washington to get a former first-round pick, a young guy with a lot of tools? He's a strong-arm guy. They compared him to the Pat Mahomes of that year's draft. Like, a lot of raw talent, but he needs to be groomed. He now has 2 years under Aaron Rodgers' tutelage. You know, a lot of people say, oh, he doesn't teach, but just being around an all-time great like that is going to be a great teachable moment, just like Aaron Rodgers with Brett Favre, even though Brett Favre was not somebody that taught the other people. But
no, it's interesting. Again, what's the cost?
So Jordan Love, I mean, he's a young guy, young quarterback, potential through the roof. You may have to give up.
With the car. Yeah.
You may have to give up the number 11 pick, the first rounder. I don't think you'd have to give up much more than that, but I think because he has 3 more years left on his rookie deal, he's got a lot of natural talent and a lot of natural ability. You'd probably have to trade pick number 11.
I'm fine with that. What are we going to get at number 11? Yeah, I mean, if it's 1 pick, no future picks, and like I said, selling the farm, I'm fine with. If they want to take a shot at him and all they have to give him is the 11th pick, because what are they going to do with the 11th pick? That it's going to be like, oh my God, they picked the right guy. I don't know.
Well, Micah Parsons was picked number 11 last year. Defensive player, rookie of the year. He was in the argument of defensive player of the year.
Sorry, what pick did the Redskins have last year?
What pick did we have? I already forgot. 18, 19? 19.
Oh, that's right, because we made the playoffs.
19, yeah. Let's go get Josh Rosen. Yeah, that's a good one. If we make one false move, I'm switching teams. Jacob, you're here for the long haul. You're not switching teams. Don't lie.
We ain't buying it.
So nobody in the chat is really interested in Love. Patrick West, no to Love. Dave Robb, no to Love. Tom.
He doesn't move my needle. Yeah.
I don't know. I would actually be interested. I went back and actually watched the Kansas City game and the Detroit game that he played in. If you look at his stats, you're not happy with the stats by any stretch. I mean, it's like a 55% completion percentage. I think he had 2 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, 180, 170 yards a game in the 2 games he played. It was not something that was, oh my gosh, this guy is coming out of the gates like one of the greats. But if you actually watch the game, it's not really as bad as what the stats show. His first interception, he was giving Devontae Adams a 50-50 shot to go. It wasn't the best ball, but he was giving the one of the best receivers in the league a 50-50 chance. The defender made a great play on the ball.
Yeah.
His second interception was a great slant pass that literally hit the dude right in the chest, bounced off the dude's hands into the defenders.
Yeah, see, I don't like that, and I know
Yeah.
we've talked about this before. I don't like quarterbacks being assessed an interception when they hit the guy in the chest and it bounces off him and goes. I think they need to come up with a new category where it's like, that's not an interception. That's not the quarterback making a stupid throw.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
But the last one was bad. The last one was at the end of a game, like 28 seconds left. He was trying to force a throw. He overthrew the receiver across the middle and ended up going into the safety's hands. So 1 out of those 3 interceptions was atrocious. The other one was not a good throw, but it's still, I like the idea of giving one of the best receivers in the league a chance. And then the third interception, of course, was just not his fault at all. So, and then he also had a dropped touchdown from his tight end. He put a great ball over top of the safety. Only the tight end open, bang, right off his hands, interception, or not interception, but just not a touchdown. So Jordan Love is actually, and he looks quick. He looks big. Like, I think he's like a 6'4", 220 frame. So he looks like he's got the right size. He moves around in the pocket. He looks quick. His arm looks strong. There's a lot to like about a Jordan Love, and if somehow, some way we could get our hands on a guy like that, he may be the best quarterback if you put him into this draft, like in this new draft, just as far as a talent. So I would be interested. The other one is, it's apparently that the Carson Wentz may be cut by the Colts. Is he somebody that may be interested in a former number 2 overall pick? We were talking about earlier the number 2 curse. Do we look at a Carson Wentz if he's cut, or do we go to make a trade for him now and get ahead of the game?
Let's look at a little couple stats on Wentz. And some of these are like very specific stats, but among quarterbacks in their first 68 career games, Wentz ranks.
Specific.
I know. Wentz ranks 12th in NFL history with 16,811 passing yards. Okay. Wentz, Drew Brees, and Aaron Rodgers are the only quarterbacks in NFL's history with 3 straight seasons of at least 20 TD passes and 7 or fewer interceptions.
Okay.
Wentz was the first to do it in 2017 through 2019. Brees and Rodgers each recorded their 3rd such season this past year. See that I don't know if this matters as much.
So this is an old article, but that's fine. But it's relevant information. But
yeah, Wentz owns 3 of the 4 best quarterback seasons in Eagles history, with a 102.2 passer rating in 2018, 101.9 in 2017. But no, I think you're talking about whether or not to draft the guy. So
trade for him or something, or pick him up in free agency.
Even with a 70, and you might be right. This might be old, but still, it's like, hey, he's done something only 2 other quarterbacks in NFL history has done, and they did it. Veterans did it after he did it. So,
and he was the first one to do it. Yeah, I think there's a lot of talent in Wentz. I would love to get my hands on a guy like Wentz. And honestly, I don't hate his contract. With the cap space going up, he's under contract for 3 more years. It's a $28 million cap hit this year. It's I believe, a $27 million the year after that, and a $26 million the year after that. So it's even going down, okay? And the cap space is going up. So you hear me talk about it all the time. 13.5% is the magic number that you have to stay under if you want to win a Super Bowl. Your quarterback cannot be more than 13.5% of your cap. He would fit that every single year coming in at $28 million. Also, a part of his contract is he's no guaranteed money after this season. So you could potentially cut him at no cost if he sucks it up this season.
Right.
Next year, you don't like him, you can move on from him if you have a bad year. And also, everybody's saying that next year's draft is more talented at the quarterback position than this year's draft. So if you did trade for Carson Wentz, kept that contract, move forward with it, if you don't work out, you could still get a guy next year, and then, or you potentially have the quarterback of your future under 3 years of contract, under the 13.5%, a veteran that I think Ron Rivera also wants is a veteran. I don't think he wants a rookie quarterback. I don't think he wants to take the time going into year 3. So I don't think he wants to take time for a rookie quarterback. I think this might be best case scenario for this team. You don't spend a bunch of capital. I think you can get away with trading like a 3rd round pick because they're going to probably cut him anyway. If they're because they were talking about cutting him because they can save $15 million on their cap, they may cut him anyway. So throw him a 3rd. I think they would be happy with that. You're not losing a ton of capital. You're getting a veteran quarterback, and you're getting a guy that could be your potential quarterback for 10 years because he's only, 28 years old? Something like that. Carson went 28, 20, maybe 29. So he could still be your quarterback for 7, 8, 9, 10 years. I don't know. It's interesting.
By the way, the chat is lighting it up humorously. MP has the league run out of ex-Panther quarterbacks for Ron to bring in. And then Dr. Pig, I'll let you read that one. That's kind of funny.
So, Tim, Washington Commanders draft Brock Purdy at 11. How quickly you dropping the toaster in the bathtub?
The chat is on fire tonight.
Oh, man. Expert JK in the house. He's late, but that's okay. Kenny Pickett been sleeping in the draft. Slipping, I think he meant to say, in the draft boards lately. Hey, that's interesting. I know the hand size is but it's going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. We'll see where they end up falling. If we make a false move, I'm switching teams. Yeah, let's go get Josh Rosen. Yeah, that's going to be a no from me, dog. Wentz sucks, says Kenny Burris. I don't think so. He had 27 touchdowns and only 7 interceptions this year. He only threw like 3,500 and something yards, which is not good. I don't like that the yards are super low. Does he have great weapons? They also ran the ball a ton because Jonathan Taylor had like 1,800 and something yards, so he didn't really need to get a whole lot of yards this year. I think this might be the best case scenario. Seriously, as crazy as it sounds, it's a more middle of the road. It's not a splash move. You keep the capital. You keep pick number 11. You keep your 2nd round pick. You can add more talent to this team. It could fit under the salary cap restraints. I don't know. It's interesting. Autismo in the house. What up, Autismo? Bring back RG3. We shouldn't trade Chase, but I got a feeling that Chase will become a Jadeveon Clowney type player, getting hurt a lot, possibly will never achieve a 10-sack season. Great against the run, though. Great against the run might be overstating it as well because he had definitely some big slips. Like, I remember the Giants game, Saquon Barkley, that big 40-yard run. That was completely Chase Young's fault. Got way out of position.
Because Chase Young's not thinking contain. He's thinking, I want to go blow up the play, and he's not, as an end, I played Little League football, and I knew as an end, you never let anybody outside of you.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking, I want to get to the quarterback or I want to blow up the play, then how many times are you going to get burnt?
Well, that's what the greats do. They blow up plays. Right? Nobody's looking at Troy Polamalu with funny eyes when he jumps over the offensive line right there at the perfect time and then sacks the quarterback. Right? Yep. Like, if you went 1 or half second later, you're offsides, and now all of a sudden it's a 5-yard penalty. You look like a doofus. But the all-time greats are supposed to have the 6th sense, if you will. Sorry, I hit my camera. The 6th sense, if you will. They're supposed to be making plays that other guys can't. But I don't know. It's interesting.
Right. And there's players out there doing it. It's not Chase Young right now.
Prepare the Broncos offer picks and players for Rodgers, potentially. Would you rather keep Chase Young or Sweat if you had an option to go for a top-tier QB? I'll let you answer that one first.
I think I'd rather keep Sweat.
Ooh, you'd rather keep Sweat, eh? I disagree. I'd rather keep Chase. Sweat is not the same locker room guy. I think Chase Young brings a lot of charisma, a lot of leadership
Oh, he does. You're right.
on that. I think they're both very, very talented defensive ends. I know that Montez Sweat rated better, but also Chase Young's under his rookie contract for longer. He's got 3 more years. Montez Sweat only has 2, I believe. So you get a guy for longer. I think they're both very, very talented, and I want to keep both. But if you're saying that I can only keep one, and which would I pick? I would keep Chase Young. We'll
No, there's an argument for that. That's fine. But the Redskins will screw it up somehow.
Redskins hat, Tim, so proud of you. Of course, I'm not getting rid of my Redskins gear. They're out their minds. Dad's right, better player and no dents. Talking about Sweat, we'll see. Trade both 7th rounds. Play just as well as them overpriced cases. I mean,
no, that was the asses.
Play as well as what did I say? I don't even.
You
remember.
said cases. I was like, maybe you were trying to keep it G-rated, but
no, I'm not even gonna lie. I just, it was actually one of those things where I was onto my next thought before I finished reading what he was saying. It was relevant to what he was saying, but I was on to my next. But anyway, yeah, it is an interesting case. I think it was where my head started to go. Of the defense didn't really lose anything when Montez Sweat and Chase Young went down. Casey Toohill, William Bradley King, James Smith Williams, like these guys arguably played better because they tried to play as a unit instead of as individuals.
A superstar.
Yeah. So I understand that sentiment, but at the same time, you want those other guys in the game. You just want to get them coached well, which is why that stupid defensive line coach needs to be fired 3 years ago. He should never have had a job because of how pathetic he has been. Got to have Soviet Union flag in the back, yeah. What do you think about the Diesel's remarks? We talked about that last week. He doesn't really know. Yeah, he doesn't really know exactly how he feels about the new name. He just doesn't want to be a part of the new name rebrand right away because,
and like I said last week, I think they
history in the nuts.
Right. I think, like I said last week, I think that the Redskins organization, as they do so often, handled it backwards. Instead of letting the number come out on the jersey and John Riggins seeing it, you go to John Riggins and say, look, you're a pillar of this. We're forced into a corner. Can you come and support us? And can we put your number and name on this new jersey to help sell it? Maybe John Riggins does the same thing. But the way I look at it is he, opens up the paper, or I know that's an old fashioned saying, but, or he gets on his computer and it's like,
what's funny is when you said he opens up the paper, my initial reaction was not newspaper. I was like, where's he going with? Like, it's, I'm like, opens up the paper. What paper?
Yeah. See, again, old school. I'm an old guy. Sorry.
Not that I'm that old. Like, newspaper was a thing when I was a kid. Like, my mom used to deliver the newspaper. I would help her deliver the newspaper. But anyway,
I did too. So,
but it was just funny that was not my. He opens up the paper. I was not going to newspaper.
But no, basically you get on. No, it's all good. But you get online.
Yeah.
And you see imagine John Riggins coming online and going, they put my name on this jersey and nobody talked to me about it. I'm going to have a negative reaction. And again, maybe he gives the same reaction, but at least they wouldn't have looked stupid putting it on the jersey and then have him say, pull it off, instead of going and talking to him ahead of time and saying, hey, we're thinking about doing this. Can we get you on board? Is there something we can do to make you feel good about it? Maybe he says yes, or maybe he says no, but then you never have a jersey with his name on it if he says no.
True.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
true.
So,
anyway.
So wait, before we move to the last subject, did not watch the All-Star game, the NBA All-Star game. Don't watch it. It's a circus show, but I have to say that Steph Curry continues to amaze me.
Mm-hmm.
16 3-pointers and all-star record out on 27 attempts. So over 50% 3 points, and he scores 50 points out of the 160
Yeah.
three that they scored. Like nobody plays defense on this game, but I just thought that was something worth mentioning, that the boy blew up for what, 50 some percent, and
Yeah. He's awesome. He also had 2 blocks in this game. What in the world is this game? 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks for Steph Curry. Yeah, have a day. I heard that he had 50 points, and I heard he broke the
yes,
All-Star game record on 3-pointer. I did hear those 2 things, but 2 blocks, that's something you don't hear. That's hilarious. Tim,
yeah,
have
he's
explored doing this in a professional atmosphere? I'm just doing my YouTube thing for now, and we'll see where it goes. Roger Smith, dang, I'm late. Hey, fellas, and chat. What up, Roger? Thanks for stopping on through. But anyway, all right, let's hop into this last topic. Terry McLaurin contract apparently is not imminent right now, according to the Bleacher Report. Terry McLaurin's new contract with the Commanders not imminent. Washington wants to keep the wide receiver, though. So, do you think that there's any way that this actually gets done this offseason? He does have 1 more year under his contract for $3 million this year. Do you think there's any way that it gets done this offseason?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I can't get inside his head to see whether or not he's thinking that, okay, this ship is never going anywhere. I want to go, money's one thing. He's going to make money wherever he goes. So I think a lot of times guys like this are thinking, I want to have a shot at winning the big crown.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the answer is. He could, but I think he's going to have to feel like this team is going
in the
seriously in the right direction. So it's hard to say. And I would understand if he goes, nope, I want to go somewhere else, because I don't think in the next 10 years the Redskins are going to make it to the big dance. And anybody with any salt regarding this league, you want to win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And if you accept, it's like, well, hey, they're paying me money and I don't care, then I respect you less than saying, I don't see this team making it, and so I want to go somewhere else.
But there's also there's also the argument, though, that you want to be a part of the build, though, right? Like, you want to be a part of the homegrown, like, some players still might have that. And I know that used to be a thing that a lot of people respected as well. It's like, you go to the team, like Giannis right now in the NBA, he signed a big contract with Milwaukee, and then he ends up winning a championship with Milwaukee, right? Like, he actually brought home a championship to the small market team that supposedly couldn't win, right? And there's also a lot of respect in that. So if he wants to be a homegrown product that stays with the team that drafted him and still gets paid a pretty coin, even though maybe this is not a team that can definitely win anytime soon, but maybe, I don't know. I think this needs to get done this year. And
that's a different point. Yeah, I agree with that.
It needs to get done this year because I want this kid on the team. I love this dude. He's a phenomenal talent, a just great human being, great character, high character dude. There's literally nothing to dislike about Terry. He doesn't complain.
I was going to say, when's
7,
the last
8, 9 quarterbacks? Yeah.
When's the last time you've heard him say anything?
The halftime of his rookie year where he stepped up.
Well, that's what,
yeah, not in a bad way. It was a good thing. Like he's a guy that you want to have on your team. He's the whole package coming in to this league. He's the whole package that you want to have on your team. And I was talking with Jarris in the group chat earlier, and he was talking about he needs to get paid big bucks, like $25, $28 million a year. I would love to not have to pay him that much money. I would love to pay him $100 million for 5 years. That's life-generating, changing wealth life-changing wealth is what I wanted to say. It's incredible how much money he would be making there. Maybe it's not top dollar of what he can make on the open market, but it's still a whole lot of money. And you leave the team with enough money to potentially build a team around you, maybe get that quarterback that you're talking about, and then move forward. But I would like it, actually, if they did do a $5 million, $125 million deal, so a $25 million a year contract, which wouldn't, I don't think it would be either. I think it would be tied for the highest paid receiver in the league if he did get that. But group in this year with that, put some of the money into this season, and then you can make it basically look like a 6-year, $125 million contract.
Right.
But it's but on the news, it'll say a 5-year, $125 million extension. So he still becomes one of the highest paid players in the league, but then it's not as big of a hit against your cap. I think it'd be the best of both worlds in that scenario. Just give Terry the team. Yeah, can he become the new owner?
A player owner, have we ever had that?
I think
I've heard of player managers, but not player owners.
Yeah. No, that's hilarious. But anyway, so I would love to get it done. I think it should get done. Ron Rivera says he has extreme interest in getting it done. And I think this is of course it should be done this season, because if you wait, it's going to go up. Devontae Adams is going to get paid $30 million. So now you're paying him $28, $29, $30 million, his dang self. You're going to continue to get hurt more and more and more and more the longer you wait. You know you want to keep this guy. Also, the big thing about it is if you guarantee a bunch of that contract, even if it's not a high year per year, what is going on in my freaking ears right now? Sorry, this thing's going nothing. Bonkers. Anyway, sorry about that. But anyway, the other thing about Terry McLaurin, though, is...
Got off track.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally beep, 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 beep. I'm like, what is this? Anyway, he hasn't gotten paid like anything. He was a third-round pick. I think last year he was like a $1.5 million cap hit for one of the best players on the team. Clearly one of the faces of the franchise when they did the rebrand. He's one of the 3 players that he chose. But yet he's gotten paid he's getting only paid $3 million this year. Right? I mean, that's pretty decent money, but over the lifetime, it's not not even life. It is life-changing money, but it's not.
No, and that's a rookie contract, right? The max.
It's just his rookie, yeah. So if you gave him 5 years, $120 million, but guaranteed 85 of it, you know he's a great dude. You know he's not going to throw that money in the trash can and, make you regret it like an Albert Hainsworth. You've had him in the building for the last 3 seasons. Dude, right. What more do you need to see? And then Terry may even sign that contract because, again, he's not getting paid anything. So looking at an $85 million guaranteed contract when you've only made $6 million over your life of your contract so far, I mean, it would take a guy with a lot of cojones or whatever.
By the way, Brett, I would love to be underpaid like that. Sign me up.
Yeah, $20 million is underpaid. I would have to work to 200 years to make that much. Yeah, true, right? It's a lot of money. But I mean, I understand that everybody wants to get as much as they possibly can, especially in football, because you only have especially a receiver on average. Well, on average, as an NFL player in general, you only have 2 years in the NFL or 3 years in the NFL. But even if you're a good player, you're only averaging 8 years, 9 years of good football in the league. So you're going to make as much money as you possibly can in 9 years. But at the same time, there is a tipping point where it doesn't matter anymore. You can only make so much money where it actually changes your life in a significant way. The difference between $100 million and $125 million is not very much in reality throughout your life. You're going to be living the exact same way no matter which contract you sign. It's not like a difference of $5 million and $125 million. No, you're going to live the same exact life no matter what. It's just now a matter of, can the team build a team around you to maybe become an all-time great because now you're winning championships? So, anyway.
No, I get
Terry,
it.
please sign. Please just sign. Please.
Well, and to your point, I know they're like, well, we only got a 9-year career. Okay. So somebody making $100,000 a year
Uh-huh.
would have to work 10 years to make $1 million.
Yep.
To make 10 million, that's 100 years. So I know they sell this. Oh, well, they got a short career. They got to make all the money they can make. Absolutely, I think we all do. But you're talking about people that if they stay in the league for 5 years and they make $2 million a year, they're making more than 75% of the population.
Right.
So I think you can make that work. Just saying.
I mean, the numbers probably get a little bit more fun. Your overall point is correct. I guess like I was just getting more specific of like when you're in that kind of a tax bracket, you're paying a whole lot more taxes than your average 100K earner. But so it may not completely line up in that math. But yeah, overall, your point is correct of you're making a ton of money in that 5 years that a lot of people will have to work a whole lot of years to match that, and most people don't even live that long to match it. Any rules against fans starting a GoFundMe type thing to pay Terry to stay? Yeah, I don't think that's how it works, but
the NFL is going to have something to say about that. That's all I know.
It's actually an interesting idea, though.
Yeah, but how do you get him to agree? Like, you're going to have him sign something that says, "Hey, if you take this money, you got to stay in Washington."
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you don't get paid out until you sign a contract with Washington, a long-term deal. As soon as you sign the long-term deal, you also get this money. It has nothing to do with the team. The team's not doing anything.
Yeah, that's a good question, but something tells me the NFL has thought about that and they got it covered.
I don't know if they have. Because we're in a whole new day and age. Like, yeah, GoFundMe's been out there for a little bit now, maybe 5 years or something like that. Or 7 years maybe. But
you know what? Maybe you call the fund Terry McLaurin needs to help his mother. Whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like you pick something totally off hey, Terry McLaurin's mother is in a bad way. We need to help her. So, by the way, Terry, stay in Washington and you do this. You follow me? Right? You don't call it to play in the NFL. You're like, hey, Terry, if you stay in Washington, we'll be more than happy to buy your mom a new house.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Do you believe Terry is underrated? Yes. Well, it depends. Like, I don't know. I got to see the list, but there's a lot of people that have a lot of respect. I think in the league, he's not underrated. I think a lot of people have a lot of respect for how good Terry McLaurin is, but as far as the fans of the NFL, he's 1,000% underrated. A lot of people don't realize how great Terry McLaurin really is.
Yep.
BC in the house. What up, BC? Timmy Boy and JW. What's up? How's it going?
By the way, Facts Only Sports with your host, Big Country? Is that somebody you know or just somebody that's visiting?
He has his own channel, and I don't.
Well,
know
I
him.
gathered that. But
I don't know. I don't know him personally.
I'm not that old. Just so you know.
He's a Cowboy fan.
Hey, welcome anyway.
Yeah, he's been here before. He's a good dude. Yeah, he. I don't know him personally, no, but I comment on his stuff. He comments on my stuff. We mentioned each other. We've kind of reacted to different stuff of what each other have said in the past. But yeah, he's overall good dude. He just has one major flaw. He's that stupid team fan. But it is what it is.
Team. Hey, welcome. Everybody's welcome.
Money for Mama Fund, says Brett. That's
what I was saying.
No, he's repeating what you said.
That's
But that's what he's going to call it.
Meant,
money for mama. That's that.
Yeah.
MFM, money for mama.
Is Terry McLaurin from a big family? Maybe it's like you could play it off. You could be like, hey, the latest, like, don't even call it the Terry McLaurin. Call it his mom's name or his brother's name and say, hey, this is just trying to help a family in need. I don't even know if they're in need. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to,
Well, in need is a relative term.
Hey, I'm in need.
Right?
Anybody want to start a GoFundMe?
I'm in need, definitely. Need's a relative term, right? Amari Cooper makes $22 million a year. The main reason the Cowboys won't be able to keep Gallup. Do y'all think he would fit in Washington? Michael Gallup's an interesting one. I told Dad to research who his top 3 free agents are next week, and I'm going to do the same. So next week we will talk more free agency coming in, but yes, that's going to be something we talk more. Michael Gallup is an interesting one. I don't know. I don't have strong thoughts. I do want to get a big body receiver. How big is Michael Gallup? I know he's not like small, but what is he, like 6'2"? Size 6'1", 205. I mean, he's a talented receiver, but I am more interested in a guy. I want to get a guy that's like 6'4", 6'5", because I think that's what we need. We already have like the smaller, faster receivers with Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, DeAndre Carter. I think will be coming back. De'Ami Brown's a 6-foot guy that we drafted last year, the third. So I think that I would like to get more of a guy that could be that red zone threat, 6'4", 6'5" style body. I would take 6'3", but you get the idea. That's the kind of receiver that I want to pair for this team. Do you like this QB class or next year? I don't know anything about next year. I just know that everybody's saying that that's the more talented class. I haven't done any research into those guys. Do I like the QB class this year? No, not really. There's a couple of guys that I would draft at number 11, but I don't think this year is going to produce the next Pat Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, super talented guy. I think there could be some decent quarterbacks, more like Derek Carr style levels, Kirk Cousins style levels, but I don't think you're getting the next great thing in the league out of this QB class. But anyway, all right, well, that's a show. Any last words over there, J-Dubs?
Go Skins or Commanders.
Hail, baby!
HTTC.
That's an interesting last thing. Do you think hail to the Commanders will ever be a thing?
No, I think it's going to continue to be HTTR.
I think hail needs to die with the Redskins, to be honest. Like, hail to the Commanders just sounds like Hitlerian to me. Like, like hail. Like I'm not hailing my commander Hitler. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't like the idea of hailing a government position. Like I don't know.
No, I agree with you.
So, I mean, I can respect the military. I can respect them and everything. I'm not saying that I'm anti-military, but hailing them is another level that I'm not interested in.
And my last comment of the night is when Washington football team first came out, it seemed so foreign and detached. And then over the last couple years, actually grew on me. So I'm hopeful, as much as I don't know how it's going to happen, I'm hopeful that the Commanders will grow on me the same way.
Right.
Because like I said, and we talked about, if they'd have come out and said, we're just going to keep it the Washington football team, I'd have been like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Everything's good.
Everything's good. All right. Well, there you go. Everything's good. That's a good way to end it. Thank you, everybody in the chat.
Thank you for being here.
Subscribe if you haven't. Hit the like button if you haven't. The thumbs up, that helps the Al Gore rhythms, the guy that lost the president's band. It's good to see everybody. Thank you, everybody that was in the chat. It was a lot of fun. And as I said, the NCAA tourney bracket will be coming. I don't know exactly when they're coming up with the final 64, or 68 rather. But yeah, it'll be a lot more. Or we'll be doing that. There will be a prize. I have an idea. I'm just waiting for things to get finalized on that before I actually announce it. But there will be a prize for sure. Whether that idea falls through or not, there'll be another prize. So thank you. Sign up for that in the future. And,
is there any rules against family or?
Nope. Everybody's allowed in. It's free. It's free.
Okay.
It'll be fun. But thank you.
By the way,
and,
thanks, Facts Only Sport. I appreciate the words of encouragement from Facts Only.
It takes time, JW. It'll be okay. Yeah, exactly, for the name thing. Keep it up, gents, says. But anyway, laters. Let's go, commies. And until next time. See ya!
See ya.